All right, here we go again. Just when you thought the Tiffany Henyard circus finally packed up its tent and left town. Guess what? Wrong. The self-proclaimed super mayor is back under the spotlight, and this time, she's staring down the very real possibility of jail time. And here's the kicker. It's not even for the reasons most people think. Every time the saga feels like it's over, it flips upside down and starts all over again. If you've been following the madness out of Dolton, Illinois, then you already know her name. You've seen the headlines, the interviews, the drama. But if you haven't, let me catch you up real quick. Tiffany Henyard wasn't some quiet mayor working behind the scenes. She was a walking scandal, a reality show that never turned the cameras off. Calling her little corrupt would be like calling a tornado a slight breeze. Even Fox News, who rarely cares about local mayors, ran a whole segment dragging her reckless behavior. This is the same mayor, mind you, who once looked her own residents in the eye and told them they better have her money. Not a joke. The same mayor who treated taxpayer credit cards like her personal Amex Black Card. She swiped, she spent. She never looked back. On one insane day, she burned through $40,000 on Amazon. Yes, you heard that right. $40,000 in 24 hours. And just so we're clear, this isn't gossip. The receipts are public. The proof is undeniable. Eventually, it all came crashing down. Henyard lost her re-election. The people finally said, enough. She was stripped of her township supervisor role too, which means right now, Tiffany Henyard is officially jobless. No mayor's chair, no supervisor's desk, no title, no power. But here's where things get messy. Even without office, she's still neck-deep in legal quicksand. Because while in power, she ignored multiple Freedom of Information Act requests, FOIAs. And that one move, that's the spark that lit the fire. Now, if you're not familiar, let me break it down. A FOIA is basically the public's flashlight. It's how taxpayers check receipts. It's the legal right to shine light on government spending and expose shady business. And guess what sat at the center of those FOIA requests? Exactly. The township's credit card statements. The very same records that showed how wild her spending had become. At first, Dolton released a few documents, and what reporters found made jaws hit the floor. The spending wasn't just questionable. It was outrageous. It was reckless. It was like someone thought they were running a Vegas casino instead of a township. Case in point, the Taste of Thornton Township event. Receipts showed singer Kiki Wyatt got $30,000 for a 30-minute set. Jay Holiday? Another $20,000 for 30 minutes. Add the crew, stage, equipment, random charges, and the bill ballooned past $85,000. Trustees later admitted they never approved a dime of it. Not a vote, not a signature, nothing. Yet the money vanished anyway. So even though Tiffany Henyard is out of office, the mess didn't leave with her. In fact, it got worse. She was ordered by the court to comply with subpoenas. She refused. And when you defy a court order, that's when it stops being politics and starts being criminal. That's when people end up in handcuffs. What started as shady spending scandals has now crossed into straight-up outrageous territory. And how did Henyard respond when the people demanded transparency? Simple, she didn't. She flat out said, "We're not answering FOIA requests anymore." Think about that. You're the mayor. You're legally required to disclose how taxpayer money is spent. And instead of following the law, she basically shrugged and said, "Nah, we're good." That's not bad PR. That's not sloppy leadership. That's the perfect recipe for a lawsuit. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. WGN Investigates took her to court. They filed lawsuits demanding the basics, credit card statements, payroll data, even costs for her taxpayer-funded security ride. Dolton's response? Silence. A total blackout. So WGN escalated. They called in the Illinois Attorney General. And guess what? The AG sided with WGN, ruling Dolton had no choice but to release the records. They even gave a hard deadline, mid-March. But did that deadline matter? Of course not. March came and went, and still nothing. No documents. No transparency. No accountability. Just stonewalling, which means the legal clock is still ticking, and Tiffany Henyard's world is still unraveling. And by now, it wasn't just WGN chasing the records. Watchdogs, attorneys, multiple groups piled on with lawsuits, all forcing Dolton's hand. But Tiffany thought she was slick. She walked out of office with a smirk, saying, "That's not my problem anymore. There's a new mayor now. But here's the reality. Stepping down doesn't magically erase your responsibilities. Courts don't care if you lost an election. The law doesn't just expire when your term ends." As one plaintiff bluntly put it, the former mayor is about to find out if losing an election is enough to escape contempt of court. Spoiler alert, it's not. Not even close. By that point, Henyard had already been slapped with contempt for refusing to turn over the records. Stepping out of office didn't clear her name. It didn't erase the order. The court was still crystal clear. Comply or face jail. No loopholes. No delay tactics. Just one brutal ultimatum. And that's how we arrive at this moment. Tiffany Henyard, dragged back to court. Not on embezzlement. Not on bribery. But for one thing, stonewalling a FOIA request. And here's the kicker. The judge didn't sugarcoat it. His words were sharp, cold, and impossible to twist. Either she delivers those records, or she eats fines of $1,000 per day. And if she dares to skip court again, straight to jail, no pit stops. No dodging. No hiding. This is the corner Henyard painted herself into, and the walls are closing fast. So what was her next move? Classic Tiffany. Instead of walking into court like ordered, she pulled a coward's trick. She logged into Zoom from some mystery location, as if a webcam could replace a courtroom bench. The judge, completely unimpressed. But instead of hammering her with cuffs right there, he tossed her one last rope. One more week, until Friday. Show up in person with the records, or else, of course, she tried to spin it. Claimed she was just the face of the village, not the one holding the files. Weak excuse. The judge cut her off instantly. You had access. You were ordered. You didn't comply. Be here in person. Bring the documents. End the discussion. No loopholes. No out. No pity. Just the cold truth hitting her like a brick wall. And let's be real, why is she fighting this hard? Why risk contempt, fines, even jail? Because those aren't just boring papers. Those records are dynamite. Proof of corruption so deep it could torture an entire legacy. If the public ever sees them, it's lights out. Every shady deal, every taxpayer-funded splurge, every backroom stunt. It all spills out in black and white. That's what she's protecting. Because here's the truth. You don't fight this hard over nothing. You don't risk jail unless those files confirm every suspicion. Tiffany Henyard isn't just corrupt. She's writing herself into history as one of the worst small-town mayors America's ever seen. And the countdown is on. Will she finally cave and hand it over? Or is she reckless enough to dare the judge to throw her in cuffs? Honestly, I wouldn't put it past her to stall again. But this time, the game's almost up. $1,000 a day in fines. A judge who's done playing babysitter. And a system that's officially out of patience. The rope is tightening, and Tiffany Henyard is running out of air. So now I want to hear from you. What's your call? Does she hand over the records, or gamble her freedom to keep the secrets buried? Drop your take in the comments, smash that like, and hit subscribe, because this story, it's just getting started.